Hello, talented teachers. Welcome to Creative Ideas for Teaching English. If you're new to our channel, please consider subscribing, sharing, and liking our videos so that you give us a kind of support. As you can see here, today we're going to talk about, we're still in sequence 2, family, me and my family. Family is a treasure, of course. But today we're going to talk about, let's get it even. We're going to speak about the situation of integration. How do you deal with this situation of integration? So if you are interested in knowing about how to deal with this, watch till the end. So today I'm going to show you a detailed lesson plan of I learned to integrate, with all the details, with all the information needed for this. Of course, as we all know, Learn to Integrate is a PDP framework: pre-writing, during writing, and post-writing. The first step is setting your objective based on Bloom's taxonomy. So here, of course, learners are going to create, they are going to produce. So by the end of the lesson, my learners will be able to write or to produce an email introducing family members. Target competencies: they interact, they interpret, and they produce. Basically, they produce. Oral and written, both. I focus on both. It's gonna be done during 2 hours. It's 2 hours. Target structures, of course, we're going to use personal pronouns, he and she in particular, possessive adjectives, and simple present. Pronunciation of the practiced words, with some emphasis on the pronunciation of final S implicitly because they did not deal with this. For the materials, I have flashcards, cards, and a softball for more interaction. Now we come to intellectual competencies. Learners can interpret verbal and non-verbal messages. He can use critical thinking while analyzing, because here they are going to have a certain kind of analysis. Then methodological competencies. He can work in pairs or in small groups, especially small groups, because here we're going to focus on group work. He can assess himself and his peers. Since they are going to work in groups, they are going to help each other. They can assess each other. They can, you know that learners, especially shy learners, they like to learn from their peers rather than learning from the teacher. Okay, so it's very interesting. Here, because of this pandemic and the lack of use of this group work, I really feel that yes, it was really good to have group work and pair work. We don't know how are we going to deal with this during these days, but it's a pity that we do not use group work and pair work. Next, he can use strategies for writing and develop effective study methods, because here we're going to write, we need some strategies, etc. For communicative competency, he can write an email. Personal and social competencies, of course, is going to socialize through oral discussions with his peers, and also he can process digital data like Gmail, etc. So here, since they are going to write an email, you need to tell them about emails. You ask them, do they have emails, etc. So it's good to know about that. For the core values, of course, since we're going to write about family members, we need to value family as a source of protection and happiness. How do we know about this? While you're, let's say, dealing with a lesson, you need to insert certain words, including the importance of family in their lives, showing respect towards family members, and you can even give them sometimes a piece of advice. You need to help your parents, you need to obey your parents, etc. This is generally the first page of the lesson plan. As you can see here, of course, you're going to write your name and the school. So this is concerning the first page. Let's move to the most important, let's say, page, which is the lesson plan. How are we going to deal with I learned to integrate? Of course, we have a pre, we've got a while, and a post. Generally, in pre-writing, we need a brainstorming. You draw a mind map on the board and you write words. Yes, it's good and very let's say, useful to help learners know where to go and what to do. But it's not bad to have creative ways in order to get learners engaged. So, as we can see here, the teacher starts the lesson by a task to help learners recall previously learned knowledge to be used during writing. The teacher sticks cards on the board. What is this game? I'm going to explain it here. I am going to stick 2 cards, this card and this one, a pink and a blue one on the board with flashcards, okay, with different flashcards. At this level, learners are going to, first of all, classify these cards according to the gender, according either female or male. So here they're going to revise the personal pronouns. So during the writing, if they write about a mother or a sister, they are going to use the personal pronoun she. And if they write about the male and then the father, the grandfather, or whatever, they're going to use the personal pronoun he. So here at this point, you can either start with this interactive activity. You give them a softball and they start asking each other questions. For example, because all these members, they have already seen them and they know even the names, they know about the ages, they know about the jobs, etc. Because it was a family, the family of this character, my character Omar. So they know about the grandfather's name, the father's, the mother's job, age. So they know about all the information. They need just to revise them. Here you can, for example, if you want to encourage slow learners to pass to the board, you can ask them to classify the cards without saying a word. You just say she, they go to the board or they pass to the board and they try classifying cards. But I would prefer using another strategy here, which is asking and answering in order to get more information. How do we deal with this? As I said before, you can use a softball game. You throw the ball for learners. Learners start asking questions. For example, who is this? They know about this question. Who is this? This is my grandmother. Yes. Then you ask the name. What is her name? One of the learners may say, she is Aziza. Then he passes to the board and places the card in the right place. It's she is Aziza. More questions. We have seen yes, no questions. Is Noor a nurse? Yes, she is a nurse. They place it. For example, here, the grandfather. What's the job of the father? The father is an architect, for example. They pass to the board and they put it here. So here we're going to, let's say, have an interaction. Sometimes we can even write sentences on the board with he, she. And later we're going even to insert the words his and her, because here it's very important to use the possessive adjectives his and her. So it's an interaction in order to get more information on how to write about a family member with he and she. Because since they say he is, here they are going to use to be. For example, they say he has a pet. For example, this uncle has got a pet dog. They are going to use to have in the simple present. Noor works in hospital. They are going to use simple present. So we're going to have an interaction in order to gather as much as we can of information, and at the same time we are revising all the information that has been taught. This is one strategy. Another strategy is mingling. How do we use this mingling strategy? Well, you can design cards with questions and answers. The same technique, but here you're going, for example, to provide half of the learners with cards. You provide them with cards that have, let's say, questions. Who is this, for example, or for example, how old is Aziza? What's the job of the mother, etc. Different questions, and the other half with answers. Then you ask learners to mingle. How do they mingle? They move around and they try to match answers with questions. They try to match answers with questions. Once they match, here it's time to have an oral interaction. They ask and answer. So each two learners create a pair, they ask and answer, and we gather as much as we can of information. Okay, so this is a technique that you can use before writing. Okay, now we move to the situation of integration. Let's get back to it. What is our situation of integration? You have an EPAL from another country. She or he sends you an email talking about her or his family members and attached a picture of the family tree. Send a reply introducing your family members too. You're going to speak about the name, the age, the job, etc. and attach your family tree as well. So as we said before, we have talked about jobs, about ages, about names. So now we're going just to focus on the form, because learners have got the necessary language to write the email. Now we focus on the form of an email, because it's very important to stick to the form that we ask learners to do. Okay, you know that the learn to integrate is the output of a series of lessons. You have dealt with listening, you've dealt with grammar, we've dealt with pronunciation. So now learners normally are ready to write a piece of writing. They are ready to use what they have learned before and reinvest this prior knowledge in, let's say, a creative output. Now, during writing, of course, we said that learners are going to work in groups to write, because they need to help each other to write, to do whatever. Here, it's advisable to have let's say, a mixed abilities groups. We need mixed abilities groups because we need, let's say, quick finishers to help slow learners. They can even write together. They try to help each other. They learn better when they are grouped. Learners learn better when they are grouped. How do you okay, let's go now to while writing. Of course, you have divided your learners into groups. Now your role is moving around, checking and helping learners. If they need information, you can help them. You can provide them with the necessary information they need. You can point to mistakes, you motivate them. You make sure that all learners are participating in the writing process, because if you do not, let's say, manage that, some of them will just chat and they will not do the task. So you give them the appropriate time to write, to do the task. You can even push them to exchange roles in writing, so that you oblige even slow learners to write, and you ask them that the group work is the responsibility of each member of the group. You can here, for example, motivate them by saying that the best piece of writing will be written on the board, or will get, let's say, a gift, maybe a sweet. So it depends on you and your, let's say, what you have in hand to give to your learners. Of course, the first session will be just about writing. Learners will try to write. They can even, once they finish, they can exchange papers for peer correction for about 5 minutes or so they can correct, they check mistakes, they highlight mistakes, of course, under your supervision. For the next session, we need a quick review. We need a quick review so that we refresh memories. We recall previously learned knowledge or dealt with knowledge. Here we can choose a reader to read the paragraph in order to push other groups to listen. We can ask questions. For example, when a group reads, you can oblige the others to listen and take notes of mistakes. This is a technique so that you oblige, or you can ask questions. For example, when a group finishes reading, you can ask the other groups, who is who are the family members that they were talking about, how old is certain person, so that just to tell them that you want them to listen, not to play. Okay. For the correction, here you can, let's say, some techniques, some teachers, sometimes we can take, let's say, a paragraph with mistakes. We write it as it is on the board, then we correct the mistakes. Or you can take the most common mistakes, you correct them, then you invite learners, you gather information from all groups, and you write on the board a unified paragraph. Of course, learners must pass to the board and write the paragraph themselves. You can highlight, let's say, as I said before, the common mistakes, you correct them. So this is generally the way we deal with the situation of integration. You can even create a gallery show. You ask the groups, it will be better. You ask the groups to prepare a gallery show, how they write a large piece of writing on a large, let's say, card or paper with different pictures. They can even stick real family members' pictures. Then you ask them to, next session of course, they stick them on the board, on the walls, and they'll move around. Each group, for example, members will go to the other group. You can let's say, choose one of the learners to be the representative of this group. He will stick to that card. Learners may take notes. They take notes as journalists, for example. They ask questions. Who is this? How old is he? Is he, for example, a teacher? Is he a doctor? So here they are practicing, and at the same time they are taking notes. From these notes you can use them. From these notes you can write the paragraph. So this is just a technique that you can use to write, let's say, a paragraph. Here you've got the the materials that I have designed for this lesson. Here you've got the situation of integration. You can provide learners with these pieces of paper, and these are the characters that I have, let's say, used for the game of he and she. And of course here you've got the possessive adjectives. So I hope that you like the idea of dealing with the with the I learned to integrate situation. If you like it, let me know in the comments down below. If you have more questions, if you have more requests, please don't hesitate. Maybe I'm gonna talk about the I think and write, because it's here. So if you like it, don't forget to subscribe, share and like the video, please. So see you in another video.